To say that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was successful seems a bit of an understatement, as it was not only hugely successful financially in terms of sales, it also raked in pretty much every award under the sun. Now naturally, CD Projekt Red's next thing that they've been sort of talking about in vague terms is of course Cyberpunk 2077. However, given the success of The Witcher and how it won many awards, many people have wondered, well, what about The Witcher 4? Are there any plans for you to be working on that? Are you perhaps starting the very early stages of development? And basically the studio was asked, or rather the CD Projekt co-founder Martin Iwinski was asked whether or not The Witcher will be returning someday. And he said, quote, "We honestly don't know. We don't have anything planned as of now, to be honest, on the next Witcher. As we said before, never say never, but right now it's really Blood and Wine. This is the end. Blood and Wine is the closing, and there won't be any Witcher anytime soon, if there ever will be one. And I'd really like to see how people feel about it, if they enjoy it." Now, they did discuss a few other things about their plans for the future, which is including a 6-year plan, which does, of course, include the release of Cyberpunk 2077 sometime after 2017, as well as another mysterious AAA game between 2017 and 2021. Now, there had been some speculation, of course, that the game after the Cyberpunk 2077 release would indeed be another Witcher, but it seems there are no plans. And he said, quote, "We are a publicly traded company, so we cannot comment on that, but I can assure you we are not working on another Witcher." Now, the interview in which he discusses these things is fairly lengthy, but there are a couple of other things that I want to touch on from this interview. And one of the things that he touched on was the insane success of The Witcher 3. And as I said, it is not purely down to sales, it's down to the fact that it won literally more awards than I can count. However, he said, quote, "I'm often asked, did it live up to our expectations? And I always answer the same answer, which is that you can never expect things like that happening, because you cannot expect the game you're working on, if you're a sane person, at least in my definition, to get 250 Game of the Year awards." Now, naturally, CD Projekt Red have a pretty good relationship with their fans and just a good sort of reputation with gamers, and for a good reason. They're a very good company, they have very good values, and they have shown to be very forthcoming, very honest, and you can just... they're a company you can trust, which is very valuable in this day and age, and they have shown that they care very much about what their community has to say, and this is another thing that he talked about when talking about the success of The Witcher and how it was the opinions of the players that he cared about the most. You know, the awards and stuff, they're great, but what he wanted to know is, and the rest of the team I'm sure, is what do the gamers think? What do our fans think? What do newcomers think? And he said, quote, the defining opinion are the gamers, and the game just clicked, and clicked extremely well. What surprised me is that it clicked pretty much everywhere in the world. The sales are telling you the naked truth, which are gamers out there, be it in Poland, the US, Middle East, or Southeast Asia, who went to the store and put down money, and the games are not cheap, and it's the same price all around the world. And so far, it has exceeded all of our expectations, but we don't have such wild imaginations to imagine things like that, because it's not something you can plan, it just worked. You plan for something, and it either works or it doesn't, and this worked much better than we planned, and we are super happy with that. And who can blame them? As I said, the success of The Witcher 3 cannot be overstated enough, because it's not really an overstatement to say that it's hugely successful. And I really hope that all their future projects continue. Well, too many uses to continue. I hope they continue to do well, basically, and I'm really looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077. While it's not out for forever, I hope we get at least something at E3, but I'm not going to expect it. They've probably got their hands full not only with the Witcher 3 expansion, but Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a huge project. They have said previously it's going to be even bigger than The Witcher 3 in terms of its scope. So, I'm not expecting anything anytime soon, but I am really looking forward to seeing what CD Projekt have in store for us. They have shown themselves to be a very reliable, trustworthy company, and that is paying off in dividends, and of course they are very good at what they do as well. The Witcher 3 is a fantastic game, and I wish CD Projekt all the best. I'm very curious to see not only how Blood and Wine is as a expansion, but of course Cyberpunk as well. So there you have it. The full interview is linked in the description below if you wish to give it a read. I suggest you look there, as it will be there for your perusal. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.